I'll call this meeting to order. Thank you all for being here. I'm going to ask Magistrate Cullen if he will lead us in our invocation.
Gladly. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we are so grateful to be gathered here, and we are grateful for the trust that this people of this county have placed in us. We ask that you will bless us to have the knowledge and foresight to think of everybody in the county as we go forth through this meeting. We ask that you will put a special blessing over those that serve this country, both here and far away, that you will bless them and their families that miss them and care for them. And we ask that you will put a special blessing on our law enforcement, that they will be protected as we've had several that have in this state and all across the country that have been targeted, and we need a blessing upon them as they continue to try to help keep us safe. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Cullen.
Yep.
Before we do our pledge, tomorrow is Flag Day, and so I would like to read a proclamation concerning Flag Day and National Flag Week, and then we will stand and have our pledge of allegiance. Whereas on June the 14th, 1777, the Continental Congress passed a resolution adopting a flag for our new nation, the United States of America. The resolution specified 13 alternating red and white stripes with 13 stars on a blue field representing the colonies that declared independence. And whereas our flag belongs to all Americans and its red, white, and blue colors are woven into rich tapestry of different cultures, backgrounds, and beliefs which connects us and honors our shared history. And whereas from the Revolutionary War to the modern age, American service members have fought bravely under the symbol of our flag. And those who give the last full measure of devotion are wrapped in its broad stripes and bright stars as they are laid to rest. We honor those who serve our country in uniform and pay tribute to those who have made that ultimate sacrifice. And whereas to commemorate the adoption of our flag, Congress of the United States designated June 14 of each year as Flag Day, and the week in which June 14th occurs is National Flag Week. Now therefore, I, Judge Executive Trilly L. Bottom, and the Boyle County Fiscal Court do hereby proclaim June the 14th, 2023 as Flag Day, and the week starting June 11th, 2023 is National Flag Week. We urge all Americans to observe Flag Day and National Flag Week by displaying the flag in honor of our brave service members and in reverence to those who gave their life defending our freedoms. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 13th day of June in the year of our Lord 2023, dated this 13th day of June 2023. If you will stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Okay, we have 3 sets of minutes to approve this morning.
Make a motion we approve.
Okay, we have May 11th, May 23rd, special meeting, and May 23rd, regular meeting. I have a motion to approve. Is there a second? Second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion on the minutes? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Thank you, Jamie. We do have Magistrate Gay on TV with us this morning, so he'll be chiming in. All right. Bills, Elena?
I'm over here now.
Yeah.
All right. This meeting, we have a total of $5,084,909.49.
Nice work.
Did you read those individually?
Yes, every single one that comes up here. What'd you say, Ellen?
What's the truck?
The truck, we didn't get the invoice for it in yet, to be able to read off of it.
I know, but we need to do a general in case
Okay.
it's
The coroner's truck, there's a possibility that it could be available the 15th, so this
2 days.
2 days from now. Once it becomes available and we can pick it up, I would like for us to be able to pay upon receiving that truck, if
Do
we
we
can
need
do
a
that.
separate motion on that, Judge?
I was gonna say, it's in the neighborhood of,
I need an invoice. I can't.
50,000?
Do you? I mean, we kind of need an
it
invoice
would
on.
be, yeah, well, and I just don't happen to have a copy of it. There is one locally, but Sam has it. I
Yeah.
don't have it.
It
Who
was
has it?
Sam.
Is there any way we could get?
Yeah, let's see if we can get him to get it down to us, and we'll vote on that one separately.
And we can do that separate, yeah. Yeah, we'll just go ahead with what you got now, and we'll
So,
come back to the treasurer.
$5,084,909.49.
Motion we approve.
Okay, I have a motion, Magistrate Cullen,
Most I've ever spent.
second by Magistrate Carmen. Any discussion on the bills? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Lena. Okay, now we need to approve our budget transfers. Ms. Darlene?
Yes. Okay, I have budget transfers, as you know, it's the end of the year. So I have budget transfers totaling $1,216,318.24. Those attached to multiple funds. I'll be moving in the general fund. Movements in the general fund, public works, joint jail, EMS, fleet management, county clerk storage, and ARPA.
Make a motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the budget transfers by Magistrate Bodner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Sleeper. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, now we have our cash transfers.
Okay, cash transfers, I have $155,000, general fund to public works, $20,000, general fund to EMS, $125,000, general fund to fleet management, $10,000, and those will all be for operations.
Okay, so the motion to approve, Magistrate Bodner. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second by Magistrate Sleeper. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
I also included, for everyone's kind of FYI, the monthly settlement, which is a list of all the accounts, so that you'd be able to see where they are at this moment.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Okay, at this time, we have two proclamations. The first one is the Juneteenth National Freedom Day, June 19th, 2023 proclamation. Whereas Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day or Emancipation Day, is celebrated each year on June the 19th in the United States to commemorate the end of slavery. And whereas the Emancipation Proclamation issued by President Abraham Lincoln ordered the legal end to slavery on June 1, 1863. And whereas the message of freedom finally reached African Americans in Texas on June 19, 1865, when Union General Gordon Granger, backed by nearly 2,000 troops, arrived in the city of Galveston and made the announcement. And whereas June 19th has a special meaning to African Americans and is called Juneteenth, combining the words June and 19th, and has been celebrated by the African American community for over 150 years. Whereas on March the 11th, 2005, the Kentucky legislature designated June 19th of each year as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Kentucky. Now therefore, I, Judge Executive Trilly L. Bottom, and the Boyle County Fiscal Court do hereby proclaim June 19th, 2023 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Boyle County. We call upon the people of Boyle County to condemn the history of slavery in our nation and to celebrate the emancipation of all Black Americans, and commit together to eradicate systematic racism and inequity which can never be tolerated. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 13th day of June, the year of our Lord, 2023. And then we also have a proclamation for Gun Violence Awareness Month, which is the month of June 2023. Whereas June is Gun Violence Awareness Month in the United States, and whereas gun violence crimes are on the rise, and whereas mental health is a major factor in countless acts of gun violence, and whereas Kentucky was recently cast into the national spotlight on April the 10th, 2023, when two mass shootings in Louisville occurred on the same day. The first at the Old National Bank, where 5 Americans lost their lives and 9 others were injured, one being a law enforcement officer. And the second incident at a nearby college, leaving 1 dead and 1 injured. And whereas it is appropriate to set aside time to recognize and pray for those Americans whose lives are cut short each year by gun violence. and the countless survivors whose lives are forever altered. Now therefore, I, Judge Executive Trilly Bottom, do hereby proclaim June 2023 as Gun Violence Awareness Month in Boyle County, and urge all citizens, businesses, organizations, and agencies to work collaboratively to reduce gun violence. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand this 13th day of June in the year of our Lord 2023. I would like to have just a moment of silence, please, just for those that have lost their lives as a result of gun violence. Thank you. All right, at this time, we're going to make some appointments to the board, and the first one I have is for the library board, and Margaret Young Levi, if you will come forward. Okay, this is 4-year term, and the term will be ending June the 30th, 2023, and I need a motion to approve the appointment. Okay, Magistrate Bodner, second. Magistrate Ellis, any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Aye.
All right. Turn around here because Miss Julie might get our You never know when you'll show up. We thank you for your service and we appreciate you continuing. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, and then next, you can't have those, Chris. We are going to make an appointment to the Boyle County Economic Development Authority Board, and this is a joint appointment with the city. We are appointing Terry Crowley, and he could not be here today because he is traveling. So I told him that we would go ahead with the appointment, and if I can have a motion to approve Terry Crowley to the EDA board.
What's his position going to be?
He's being appointed to the
So he's taking over for Roush?
yes.
Okay.
Dr. Roush has stepped down. Sorry, Jason, I should have. Dr. Roush has stepped down, and so this is a joint appointment with the city to appoint Terry Crowley in his position.
Okay.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Ellis, a second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussions? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay?
Aye.
All right, that appointment has been made. Next, we have some Parks and Rec Committee appointments. These are...
Mark is here. You want a picture with him?
Mark! I do.
He snuck in.
I need Mark, I need Joe Marie Lammy, and I need Ed. Ed Rawl could not be here today, but we do have Mark Morgan and Joe Marie Lammy. These are being appointed to the Parks and Recreation Board, and both are reappointments. Well, all three are reappointments. I need a motion to approve the appointments.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Magistrate Ellis, second by Magistrate Cullen. Is there any discussion on the appointments? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right.
Every time you agree, Jason, it's like you're agreeing a second later.
He's voting.
All right. Thank you so much. We appreciate, Mark, we appreciate everything that you all do on the board. Yeah.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to working with you. No? I knew Joe Marie was, but I didn't see him. Thank you. And then, like I said, Ed Rawl will also be appointed to that board. Okay, now we need, Master Sleeper, could you ask Mr. Blevins to come in, please?
Hey there, how are you all?
Good morning.
It's always good to talk to you for a few minutes. And I'll start off with the good thing. Our tax rate, I'm keeping it the same for this year, 3.6, so no need to look at anything that we're increasing or anything on that. I will need a vote on it eventually. But and then hopefully you've got in front of you just a piece of paper that's in your packet that just gives you a little bit of highlights about the health department, what we've looked at for the year, what we've done, some future plans that we're looking at, and kind of where we're trying to go with our direction and some things that we're excited about. I also put at the top of that, just to give you a little idea on revenue expense, I think it's good to see kind of what the health department budget looks like for some years, and I gave you several years there so you can have a little comparison. Obviously, 21 and 22 are a little bumped up, probably more out of COVID CARES Act money is what we got for that. So, and then the taxing district revenue that we get off of 3.6 that we have currently. To show you that. Some highlights on the services. That's not everybody that comes in, but just some general numbers so that you can kind of see what we're doing. And then future plans, which I'm most excited about because we're to the point now that we can actually look at hiring a couple people that we need, a health educator, a regular harm reduction. The harm reduction person we have now is through the UK Clerk grant. At some point that money will go away. That UK grant will. So I think harm reduction is just here to stay. I think it's just part of the ballgame now. And so we'll have that as a full-time person and be rolling on that. And then at the bottom, just a summary. There's a lot of things within each of those categories, but just a summary of all the different services we do.
So we all know that, or a good amount of us have felt that our tax assessment has gone up this last year. So you're keeping it at 3.6?
3.6.
All right, no thought of lowering it at all?
No.
Based on what, because you're probably going to see a good amount of increase this year. I know
Yeah.
I know my taxes went up $700 just 1 year alone.
Yeah, the
So-
3.6 were, well, actually, let me back up. Last year I went to 3.7, but then I had to come back, if you remember, and do the, go back to 3.6 because we're now subject to the compensating rate.
Correct.
And 3.6 is a good amount, is a good amount for us, simply because it gives us enough revenue to meet our obligations and to allow us to look back at hiring a health educator and getting a full-time harm reduction person. So for right now, it's a good amount for
Okay.
us.
So depending on what comes in, you may have to come back.
And it could be down the road that we look at something different.
Okay.
But hopefully for right now, it keeps us good and stable, which is where
Good.
we want to be.
Yeah, I don't want to bring you down any, but
Okay.
I think that you'll see a good amount of revenue come in this year versus last year. So,
Okay.
all right.
I want to talk a little bit about Narcan. You helped us in probably 3.5 or 4 years ago where we were trained in the use of Narcan. I'm remembering that it was astronomically expensive at that time. We had a grant where we were getting it into the county with no cost to the county back then. Am I correct on that?
Yes, that was part of, somewhat through the Clerk grant too. UK allowed us to do that. One of the good things is we were just able to buy, excuse me, we were just able to buy a bunch of Narcan doses with ASAP money. ASAP money is not going to be here forever. It's tied
What's
to
the cost,
tobacco
unit
fund.
cost now? Because
You can get it anywhere. We were paying $82 a box, and you know in the box there's two doses a box. We were just able to buy it for about $45 a box. So it's getting better.
it is gaining the generic label 17 years still.
Say that again.
To go from Narcan to something that is a Narcan generic, is that still a 17-year process?
Honestly, I don't know, but you're exactly right in what your point is. It keeps it high for such a long period. I agree with you. I hope that it comes out as a generic. We're still trying to get as much as we can out, and Amy A still works with us, and that most people in this county, or a lot of people were trained by Amy Annis, and she's still being able to do that, just not as much as we were.
And you and I have had this conversation a couple of years ago. Mine has expired, but you've said in an instance of use, you can do no harm using one that's technically expired. Am I correct on that?
Yes, unofficially, don't throw it away. Officially, when it expires, it's expired, but if you've got it in your car, somebody's laid out in front of you, and that's what you've got, that's what you got. But definitely try to get new ones. There's some research and stuff about leaving them in your car with heat and cold and the effectiveness of them, but
When in doubt, use it.
at that point in time, there's not a harm to it.
And speak to the Good Samaritan issue on that.
Without it in front of me, and I hope I don't mess this up, if you're there and a person is overdosed, you're using yourself and you call it in, and when they come to save that person, I believe, if I remember right, that they can't, as long as there's nothing else going on, and that's necessarily arrest you.
better question for Chris than
Yeah, and
Brent.
I think I'm probably missing a few details, but
Well,
I think
I
that's
do
the
remember
overall
from the
picture.
orientation that we're held harmless as citizens who can't practice medicine, but
Yeah.
in a life-saving situation.
Yeah, and the good thing about Narcan is even if somebody's laying out in front of you and you think it's an OD and you give it to them, there's not a side effect to it if it happened to not be an opioid OD. If it was something else.
Well, it's critical that the public know that in case they ever have the opportunity to save a life. That's why I wanted to particularly touch on the Good Samaritan aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
I do think that offers some protection, yes.
Any other questions for Brent?
You guys get some extra work with all these new restaurants opening up?
Yes. Yes, we are. It's good for Boyle County, though, that's for sure. So I need a motion and a vote on the 3.6.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bodner to approve the 3.6 cent tax rate for the Boyle County Health Department. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you, Brent. We
Appreciate it.
appreciate what you do. Okay. Magistrate Sleeper, you're gonna be the doorman today.
Oh, yeah.
Will you see if Mayor Miller is out there? Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Mayor?
Fine, how are you doing?
And your councilman?
Good
Good morning.
Council with you here.
All right. You want to just inform us of some things, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So what we have done, I've come back, I think, met your requirements, which you wanted me to check on this past, I think about a month ago when we were in here, about what areas that we were wanting to annex, because you don't want us to be annexing all throughout the whole county, which I understand all that. Perryville was not trying to do anything, to take anything away from anybody or anything like that. So with the map that I gave you all was a quick map, which we'd already been working on a little bit. And this was the maximum amount of the map that I gave you all, was the maximum amount of land that we were requesting to annex. Now, I know that in those lands, since I've been looking at, there is part of that is ag district, and I know that none of the ag district can be annexed into a city. I know that. So that part would have been taken out of. That's a process that the city would be doing and be working on it there. All that we need to do is have a yes or no vote from you all to whether we can go with those proceedings or not. It doesn't involve anything else with the county that I know of doing annexing, because we're the ones doing the annexing and not the county. So all we need is permission to go ahead and do that process of annexation.
Do you have a new map, did you say?
I've got copies of the map. I know we had emailed it to Tom. I think Tom had sent it to everybody, but I've got copies here also
Does everybody have a copy?
of what I had. So, can I hand those out?
Sure, yeah, please. I'd like to see it.
There, okay. Thank you a little bit of minute. Oh,
That's all right, no, I did that,
Mayor,
I've got left here. Does anybody else need one?
That's different than the one you gave me.
Yeah, I know the fiscal court has in the past asked, when, especially when asking for funds for Main Street, when is Perryville going to be able to support Main Street? But you notice the little circle that we got in there, that's original. Now that is
what the city's been for probably approximately 200 years. And it's a shame that the city's not grown any since then, you know. So how can us as a city support anything in there if we don't have the funds in order to do it? In order to get the funds, in order to get any of that, we need to do some annexation. And that's not just to increase taxes on people that we're bringing in. As y'all know, the bigger you are, the more grants and funds you can get from the state and whatever it is to be able to work on projects that you have coming in. And that's the main goal.
What services is the city of Perryville going to provide these new people in return for the extra taxes they're going to have to pay?
Well, just to be honest, I don't mean no disrespect, I don't even think that's a question that should be asked by the fiscal court. That should be asked by the people that we're going to annex.
So you're
I mean,
saying
if you
because
think
it's
about it.
just, you're just saying, all you want to know is, will we oppose it? You don't want us to get into the fight where some people are for it, some people are
No,
against
that's
it?
not.
Whether we can
Exactly.
proceed or not. I don't want to waste our time, the council's time,
Right.
our lawyers' time, paying them and doing all this work if we're not going to be able to be annexed. And I know we got a letter from Chris that wants me to bring all this stuff up, but that's going to be another 2 or 3 weeks or a month down the road, trying to get all that information. It's going to cost. And at that time, if we don't get this stuff started and get it started here, we're not going to be able to get it on the ballot to be voted for, if it even gets that far. It may not even get that far. So all I'm looking for from the council, from you all, from fiscal court is, can we or can we not proceed with annexation?
Counselor?
I just had some questions. You know, we have the annexation pause, and first of all, this wasn't initiated before March the 1st, correct?
Do what now?
I mean, this annexation process, you haven't initiated before March the 1st.
Well, I have no idea exactly what it means. Does it mean that we did an ordinance for that?
Right.
No, we didn't do the ordinance, but we did create our commission and stuff before that, prior to that in February. Now, that's something I'll have to check with the lawyer and stuff like that to see if that would be the case, then I wouldn't even need to be standing here because it'd already go through.
Why do you believe that this annexation is necessary for significant economic development projects?
Well, because we're already providing services to areas that are already connected to the city. They're already receiving the benefits of the city. Now, I know Jason asked about the utilities and stuff like that, and you know, I regret that years ago, some of the mayors and the council before that gave up the rights to the utilities, basically, that Perryville has. So we don't have much in that area to be able to provide for the people. So I know it's going to be an uphill battle for us. All I wanted to be able to do is to be able to do the process and go through it.
Do you think that the annexation is going to directly facilitate the delivery of new or substantially improved services that can't be provided by the city absent annexation?
Well, what services we got, yes, we will be providing them for them. It'll help them tremendously.
Like
I know right now, the service, a lot of the services that they get, such as, you know, police and fire, they already depend upon the city, and we have been, you know, helping in those areas for those people in those areas. But no, that's okay. That's enough said right there. I'll let the rest of my part go for a later date.
I mean, do you want me to say anything else?
Whatever
Well-
you need to say, whatever you want to say.
I guess I'm looking at this map, and I think it's the same
Yeah, it's the
We
same
already had.
one, right, this is the same one I had. I didn't do another, but I'm not,
Yeah.
You haven't changed the
I didn't
boundary
change
at all.
anything what we
So
had
it's the
before.
same boundary.
The only thing I don't feel comfortable with is like, I'd kind of like to see a new map, you know, with the ag district land taken out. Because I just would want to make sure, I mean, there's certain rules that the land has to be adjacent and contiguous to the boundaries of the city at the time annexation proceedings are initiated. So I'd hate for us to say yes if we don't know that once you take the ag district out, that that land is still adjacent and contiguous. So I mean, that's the issue I have. I would rather ask that you come back, you know, to speak with an engineer and come back with a new map showing us the land, exactly what you're wanting to annex, just for us to make sure that that land is adjacent and contiguous. I mean, that's one of my big concerns with that, because I mean, when I looked at this map and then I went to the ag district and kind of put their map of ag district land over this, pretty much like I would say about 3/4 of it is ag district, which would be exempt from annexation. So that's what I'm telling the fiscal court.
Okay. Thank you, Counselor. So the question is,
Well, I don't think there really is a question right now. If our attorney is directing us a certain way, we kind of have to,
And I give advice, you don't have
Yeah.
to always follow it, but
Yeah.
I'm just telling you,
but,
my
well,
opinion.
you don't know what my question was.
yeah, sorry, I should have cut you off.
My question was, do you have a motion to approve or deny the court's decision to allow Perryville to annex?
I think, and the counselor gave me some new information to me just in the last few days, that there are some details, and I see one here that under the new revised statute and the moratorium, I see one section that I'm particularly concerned cannot be in the map, and I think we should have a solid map before we move forward. I think your attorney could quickly determine, based on a conversation with ours, what that one area is, and there could be others, because I'm not sure what other ag districts there are in that exemption. So I think we are premature today, Judge.
Well, and I just want to make it clear too, that the only reason Mayor Miller has to be here today is because of the new law, Senate Bill 141, with the moratorium,
Which-
cities cannot annex.
Which many of us have lobbied for
Yes.
several years
Yes,
to
yes.
have put out there. So we
Correct.
appreciate that moratorium right now. And I understand that there's going to be some costs to this, but we need to get this done the right way before we go ahead and just blankly say, yeah, you can go ahead and annex stuff in. I understand your dilemma and your issues, but right now, these are Boyle County taxpayers, and we need to make sure that we represent them too. So if we have all of our, well, I should say, if you have all your ducks in a row, everything's here, there's no questions from our attorney, then we can proceed. But as of right now, we need to make sure that we have every box checked before we just give that blanket yes or no.
So Mayor, do you want to
I'm
come?
not coming back.
Okay,
I want to have a decision today whether we can go forward or not. If it's not brought up, then I'm going to take that as no, we cannot, and I'll wait another year until the moratorium's over,
okay.
and we'll proceed then with it.
Moratorium's not going away, so I would,
Well, when the legislature deals with it next year in 2024.
yeah, that's, yeah. It's my understanding that they've worked between the city and the KLC and, KCO, that this will be something that's probably the outline for how it will go going forward, so.
Yeah, they've
that's
made a
fine.
commission now of a half a dozen or more legislators to work on it over this interim. Mayor, with the greatest respect, we don't want today to be the end all. There's not that much that needs to fall in place to find out if the perimeter that you've laid out for us needs to be amended. And then with all the phone calls I've gotten in the last 10 days or 2 weeks, I think it needs to be in the public record that you've agreed that there has to be a public hearing, there has to be signage out before that public hearing, and that you and I actually discussed the fact that then the citizens because of a special provision in this new statute, were the city commission, whether it was simple majority or a unanimous vote of the Perryville City Council, after that fact, and help me out on this, Councilor, because you were telling me about this, that is it 60 days or less that the citizens who are impacted by the potential annexation would have the right to call for a special, I don't know whether it would be called a referendum or a vote where they could cause the denial of the action of the council. So I think all that has to fall in place, but I don't want to discourage you from coming back to us in 2 weeks or 4 weeks so that we could move forward and possibly have an affirmative vote for you.
We have to protect the other cities involved as well, because we've got 2 other cities that if we kind of set a precedent right now, just an easy come on in without everything all taken care of, that'll be a problem, especially for the larger city that, does not mind annexing left and right. So,
Well, you've got 2 other cities that have annexed numerous times over the years.
and that's
That
why
was
we've asked for
before
this.
the moratorium.
That's why we asked for
That's
this
why
moratorium.
Perryville is still where it is right now today,
Okay.
because it's so near an ag district and stuff like that, that it's hard to get that, and you cannot annex ag districts. So, my apologies for sending that there without going ahead and coming through, but it was short notice last time when y'all said, give me this, and I was just trying to get to you as quickly as possible.
I understand that.
But I know the process and all that has to be done that I'm looking at for all this stuff about having to send it out there. You have to wait, you have to give it, if a petition's filed and all that stuff, all that is to be taken upon the city of Perryville. Unless the fiscal court wants to pay for all that stuff, then, that'll be fine. I'll be more than happy just to
We've been
go ahead
generous
with you all.
enough to Perryville, so.
But in order for Perryville to be independent and not to be so dependent on anything that the county's doing, we need to be able to annex to where we can get more constituents inside the city limits, where we can get more, be able to apply for more funds, be able to apply for more grants, capable of reaching the stuff for our citizens. With a city as small as we are, we got the main city of Perryville, and there's another city, I won't mention where it is, but it's very close to here. But the main city and the main city of that location, the actual city part is a whole lot smaller than Perryville's is. But because of them being able to annex what they did outside, and the city footprint was much bigger, which included a few more people in there. Now, the ARPA funds that we got, they got nearly double than what we got. But yet the people that are inside what you would call the actual city portion, albeit the consolidated portion, is about half the size. Now you see where I'm going with this. We can't, in order for us to get funds and stuff in there, if you've only got 700 people within your city limit, you're very limited to the funds you're going to be able to receive. That's just like with Boyle County. Does Boyle County receive the same funds, amounts of funds, the federal funds or state funds, whatever that Jefferson or Fayette receives? Not near. So, that being said, and I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I'll let this one just get it to a vote whether we can proceed or we need to wait or whatever. So, and if there's no motion, then I'm going to take that as a no that we can't proceed.
Well, I agree with Magistrate Ellis. I don't think it would take much, just to tweak the map and give us a more precise area of what you're wanting to annex.
What you can annex.
Yeah, what you can annex. So,
And excuse me.
no, you're fine. I was just gonna say, would you want to tweak the map and bring it back to us?
I'm here today for a yes or no vote. That's all I'm here for.
And you're really not asking, it doesn't really matter what he annexes or not. Today, you're saying You just want an answer as to whether you can try to gather the information to it, because
Yes.
we wouldn't be deciding anything
No.
there.
I'm not
So-
spending any money. I'm not going about wasting any more time
Right.
or spending any more money or spending any of the council's time doing anything else with this if we're not going to be able to go forward. I've got more important things to do around the city as to, and this is very important here, but if in the end it's going to be a no vote, then what have I wasted? I've wasted our taxpayers' money, which is very limited of what we can do right now and we receive.
Mayor, I honestly believe there's all the potential in the world for a positive vote if we get the details that I actually believe in our conversation with our council, that we're pretty much obligated to have that when we vote so that we know precisely what we are voting on. And I think Magistrate Cullen made a very valid point that if we don't ask for everything to be in place, all the details to be in place, then we're subject to other cities within the county coming with incomplete information. And I honestly believe the conversation that your attorney with our attorney would be nominal. I know fees are expensive, but that could solve a lot. And then and engineering that the judge mentioned, I'm just not sure what that would involve, but I cannot fathom that it would be very much, because you know your boundaries, and I urge you to come back so that we can go for
I'm not coming back.
positive vote.
I'm not coming back. I regret that all this is in here, but I gave this amount over a month ago, and I regret that just the day before I get called and said that we need more information. I mean, I don't think it takes a month for someone to decide, what we need to do or what we can't do.
Did you watch a meeting about a month ago? Because I kind of went through the whole same process and I explained it. I'm just saying it even more detailed today, but a month ago we talked about this in a meeting.
Which is detailed in our minutes that we approved today.
So I mean, I did talk about it a month ago, and there's not an exemption just because you want to make more money for the county or for your city or for the reason of being eligible for grants. I mean, it's pretty specific, where you can have it or what the exemptions are, and that's not one of them. But we did speak of this quite a bit in our meeting a month ago.
Okay, what's the court's desire?
I mean, I think if we take a vote today, it's definitely going to be a no. So if we take a vote,
That's fine.
I mean, that's what it's going to happen, so.
And I believe that it could be an affirmative vote 2 to 4 weeks out.
That's fine. You ready, guys? I'm finished.
Thank you,
y'all
Mayor.
for your time.
Appreciate
Thank you,
you.
Judge.
Appreciate you being here. Okay, Magistrate Sleeper, we need Mr. Johnson. Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good.
You're gonna tell us about some discretionary
Well, we
roads.
got county road aid funds I need to get approval on.
Yes, sir. You have the list? You want me to do it?
Yeah, you can do it. Go ahead.
Okay, you all should have received in your packet the discretionary fund paving list for 23-24. Roger, myself, input from you all, Ms. Rita, have all put our heads together, and these are the roads that we came up with that we think are the most significantly damaged, need repaving, repair. Y'all can look down that list. It's a total of $689,944, and
I make a motion that we approve the discretionary fund for paving our roads.
okay, we have a motion to approve the discretionary fund
Second.
list, a second by Magistrate Cullen. Is there any discussion?
I did have a question. Someone asked me
Yes, ma'am.
about Alum Springs, the end of Alum Springs. They had heard that was going to be paved.
Oh,
Yes,
so it's
ma'am.
Crosspike?
Crosspike.
Yes.
Allen Springs Cross Pipes.
So that's, okay.
Yes,
That's not
ma'am.
in there, this is, okay.
Yeah, it's different, and I got a phone call from Shane this morning from Allen Company, and they're gonna start on Old Springfield Road tomorrow.
Awesome.
So they go from there to back to Allen Springs
Okay.
from there, so,
Alright.
so
And
they're,
you all-
so they're starting.
Yeah. If you all remember, we received $738,530.40. So there is a little gap there, but, you know, sometimes things change and you need more, you need less, or the price goes up, or
Right.
whatever. So we wanted a little wiggle room in case we did have something come up.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
anything else about that?
No, yep. y'all
Haven't
need-
voted yet.
No, we haven't voted. We're still
Okay.
discussing.
Carry on. Yeah, we're good.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Yeah. Well, that was part of the update. I was gonna kind of give you on that. It's about the
Yeah.
Allen Company getting started tomorrow on the Old Springfield Road on that one end there. And then, of course, we're out mowing, so if anybody calls about, we're out there, we're trying to get to you. It's just, you know, it's a process, you know, it
Blows
just
up
takes a little
quick.
time to get there. And so
And I know
everybody's out mowing.
with Kentucky being such a green state, it seems like all of our trees are just growing
Oh,
along the road.
it is.
I mean, just all
And then this
overnight, we
past-
just have like
Yeah.
a tunnel in some of these roads.
Yeah, and
So
in
they'll
this
be-
past year, I don't know why, but I mean, it seems like it's growed out more than normal.
It
You know what
does.
I mean?
It
So,
does.
but we're out there working on it,
Okay.
so if anybody calls, we'll be there. Just look
Y'all
out
doing a great
look
job.
out the window, we liable to be there,
Okay.
you know.
All right.
Wave as you go by.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, and Kobe from Junction, have you set up anything with him to?
I haven't heard anything back from him,
Well, he was
so
saying,
I don't,
okay, so I'll have him call you.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. So,
all right.
we'll-
Tell the
we'll
Allen
try to
Company,
have-
the folks on Quirks Run are very, very happy.
Well, good deal.
That's been a rough one for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. Good deal.
Yep.
All right,
Thanks, sir.
any more questions? Good?
They're good.
Good.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you.
All right, next is.
Thank you guys for all the hard work.
I will. Thank you, sir.
Okay, next is the amended and restated agreement in lieu of taxes. This is the agreement that happened last year, I believe, and it's the CJ May property. There is nothing changed except for the structure and the way the funds are going to be handled. So, Chris, Counselor, do you have anything else that you want to add to this?
No, I mean, I looked it over. and it's
Yeah,
pretty
nothing is
standard.
changing other than the structure of the way it's done.
What do you mean by the structure? I was reading through it.
I knew you was gonna ask that question.
So we're still using IRBs, right?
Yes.
And they're not here to answer questions, correct?
No, sir. I'm trying to remember I had an email conversation. Chris, did you see anything in there that?
I mean, nothing stood out.
Okay, it is further understood by the parties that the payment obligations created by this agreement shall be secured by a mortgage and paid to the city to be held and dispersed as required by this agreement and the trust indenture.
So they're still doing pilot payments?
They're still doing pilot payments, the bonds, we're not gonna be out any money. That's all I was told, is that it's not changing anything but the structure. Everything else remains the same.
Does everybody know where this project is? No. Okay, for the new ones, this is a project out adjacent to the Lowe's property, and it was sold to us that it will have a potential hotel, 2 retailers, 2 restaurants, in lieu of
collecting property taxes off of that, we will get the return through the payroll taxes. Significant benefit to the county.
Make a motion, we approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bodner. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you.
Oh,
All right, Boyle County Clerk, Casey McCoy.
the great takeover.
You mean in my small district?
We're gonna have to get you
Good
a couple,
morning.
couple hits to have on.
We're already fighting.
It started. It's on.
I understand.
I'll make a motion, we send Casey back to the drawing board.
Gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
That's right.
Gotta start somewhere.
Oh,
Alright, so I know that's probably not what some of y'all expected in the reapportionment part of it, I guess. Some of the justification reason why that the board or committee kind of went this way was because of trying to keep more of the rural part of the county's rural and the city part of the, the city parts of the magistrate districts in the city. Of course, our population's grown quite a bit. We're, well over 30,000, closer to 31,000. And to keep it in within the percentage that we have to keep it in, one district got smaller, which is Jason's district, and 1 and 2, which is Tom and Paul's district, had to grow. So the way it worked out, of course you can see on your map, and I tried to get it on the big screen there, but I didn't get to receive the maps in time for Bill to be able to put them up on the screen. So he said that you all have copies of it, which I think you all can see.
I like it.
So what's happened is let me look at the numbers here. District 1 was under 316 people. 2 was under 127 people. 3 was over 83, and 4 was over by 438. 5 and 6 were right where they needed to be with the population wise. Now remember, this is off population. It's not off voter registration. It's not off anything but just actual census data of
For what year was that last census?
Just
2020. This
20,
last one
yeah,
that was done. With the numbers that we've come up with right here, it's the closest, working with Bluegrass Ads, he said it's the closest that the numbers that he's ever seen as far as population wise. So if you can tell, of course, 3 loses from Caldwell over to the city limits, which will go to 1. And then 4 would lose from 127 to Shakertown Road. And then 2 will gain from 150 there to 52 on the right side, all the way to the county line. Again, what this does...
arid county line.
Yeah,
Yeah.
county line. What this does, it keeps like I said earlier, it keeps more of which turned 3 into more of a city limit in the city limits district, which I feel like was a good call, because most of the district is in the city limits. You all can go ahead and start firing at me.
Yeah, well, you and I talked a couple times about this.
Mhm.
I'd like him to go back to the drawing board, because encroaching that far over into eastern Boyle County for the magistrate for western Boyle County doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if we're going to go east, you kind of have to go right through the middle.
Where would you think that it needs to
Well,
go?
again, like I said, it would make more sense for 1 to take some of this,
Then where does 2 go?
then 2 kind of goes north a little
Into the
bit.
city limits of
Well, they're already in the city limits because of the annexation of the airport. So she already has portion of Danville.
Nobody
City
lives at the airport. There's no population.
No,
there.
there's population that goes through there. The Spoonmores live through there. You've got several other families that did not want to be part of the annexation that are in there. You know, Bill, who's that right across
But
from?
that airport's not contiguous, I mean, it's all separated by itself, it's a,
Well, but what he's saying is he's trying to keep it within city limits, but that
Right.
means you just gained part of Danville City as your district.
But as far as voter registration goes, there won't be any registered voters in the city because there's no residences that live there. That's what Casey's
Okay.
saying.
that's
Now,
right.
is it based on population or registered votes?
Population? No, it's population.
Say, because you mentioned the registered.
Yeah, because I've got a good part of my population is incarcerated up at North Point.
That's true.
See, I want to stress what Magistrate Cullen just brought up there. I doubt seriously that 1,100 plus inmates are voting. And
it's on
we really
population.
need to look at the state and federal statutes on that, because the likelihood of them voting is slim and none.
It's none.
It's irrelevant at this point because you have to include that population
And
inside.
Counselor, help us to understand where that's in statute, state or federal.
It's just like Center College being included in the city limits.
Right.
I mean, off the top of my head, I couldn't answer that. I can look into it.
Yeah,
Well, it's
I
also
don't
our
want to
detention
inherit this
center
process
included
for the
in there
court,
as well.
because that's what the statute provides, that if we can't agree with the work of the citizen group and you, then we inherit the obligation to do it. And I know they worked hard on this. I was hopeful that the 2 or 3 streets that have now come into my area have not yet, and I didn't see this map until this morning, but I see the frustration that is faced here. And I think that 1,100, if there's a way around that, would make a dramatic difference in this, in Magistrate Cullen retaining his area there and keeping the balance that's under the state and federal statutes on apportionment.
It's not even retaining that. I have a hard time thinking that somebody in Hunt Farm could run to represent Perryville, Forkland, Mitchellsburg, in that area
So-
of
Or vice
the
versa.
county.
Well, do you think that somebody on Boffman Avenue that would be in District 2 would have a good take on somebody that lived on Johnson Branch or somewhere like that?
Well, I mean, we could go the same thing why somebody
Yeah,
over at 52 at the corner there, has anything to do with Alum Springs.
Yeah.
I mean, we can go all day
You
on
go,
that,
that's
but
exactly right.
I'm just saying, it doesn't,
Again, in this,
we've done a lot in the last 5-6 years to make sure that western part of Boyle County is well represented. I would hate that to go backwards because somebody just doesn't have the understanding or the history. So, but it would make, looking at this map, it would make more sense to kind of go for area 2 to kind of go a little north.
I mean, I'd
if
love
you're-
it.
If you're going to give up part of Parksville or whatever, so I don't
I'd
know.
Well,
love
if you-
it to stay the same, but it can't, so we've got to just look at the other option.
Well, we got to get more creative on this instead of just saying, well, 5 and 6 didn't grow, so we're not going to mess with them. Let's take the, and I'm sorry for using this phrase, but the easy way out and just kind of, the ones that did grow or did lose, let's move them around.
Still got time for more options, correct?
Yes.
How much time do we have?
What's your
60
deadline?
days.
it's July 21st is the deadline.
I realize this is population, but looking at from here to here,
Right.
that's a big area.
But that's,
It's
it's,
huge.
and there's no, like, that area's, whether it's this way or another way, that area's gonna have to be that big.
Well,
Geographically.
Geographically.
Yes.
So if you take away from 2 and have to put 2 somewhere into 3, 4, 5, or if you take 1 and have to put it into 6 and takes away down into the city limits, it's gonna push, I mean, ultimately it's the same thing.
I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, our vote no matter where we are, counts for the whole county.
Yeah.
So, but, I mean, I could see, instead of this small area up here, that you could possibly, shave off some of this and then kind of go up. I'd like another option. I guess that's what I'm saying. So that would be better representative of those that we serve.
Casey, I know that the legislature put off the actual implementation of the change where that map would change dramatically. What is that date when
It's
that's
the day after the election, November 8th.
So we would have
we
new
have-
districts?
We,
See, I thought that was going to be put off to 2025 or something.
no, so once this is done, it'll be implemented November 8th. So after November 8th, so next year's election, well, I mean, when
It won't affect the general
it won't
election.
affect the general election. But going forward, in the next elections that involves you all, it will affect, yes.
And there's other criteria that the board has to meet as far as a set roadway, as for a boundary, a creek. They even have to use census blocks, which is a pain. I've done it, it's a pain. It's a lot involved, because when you're into it and you're looking at the numbers and you take one little section and you plug that in, well, if that throws you over, then you've got to go back and change that, or if you're under, then you've got to keep adding more to it until you get to that 5% ratio that you have to meet. So it is very cumbersome, trying to get the boundaries.
Well, Bluegrass Ad has most of this where they're able to knock stuff out.
They do.
It's not like the committee is the one that's, counting numbers here. They're
No, we sit down and, try this, do this,
Right.
Move it to here.
Yeah.
Then
But you guys are making suggestions and
yeah,
recommendations.
but like if you start going into, like you start getting into neighborhood roads or neighborhood streets, like just one street changes the numbers drastically.
I understand.
So it's I understand you think we took the easy way out.
Like again, I wasn't
I know, but
trying
I'm
to say that in
saying-
a rude way. And that wasn't you guys thinking Bluegrass Ad made the easy way out, but
Listen, we met twice, 3 times technically, if you did the Board of Elections meeting, and we've discussed other routes to go. And if you remember back in 2000, when the before this map, 3 actually went all the way out to the county line, the same way that 2's going now.
yeah, I know that we used to all be Phil's district. I'm aware of that. But
The main thing is, and I understand that, one had to get bigger, and one's already the biggest.
And you've had more growth in the city than you have out of the county.
I mean, 5 and 6 didn't change at all. 5 changed to 0, and 6 changed by 4 people.
Casey, with all due respect to the frustration that I hear from Magistrate Cullen, if you were, for example, to try and take District 1 and absorb half of District 6 Bluegrass subdivision, then you'd be hitting the terribly frustrating issue of where does 6 take enough population to get back to where they were whole or close to being whole, because there is a tremendous population there in Bluegrass.
Correct.
So yes, that just taking where 6 is and going in that little jump back west, that might more than satisfy what Magistrate Cullen is talking about in the northeast corner there, going over toward Faulkner and 33. But then 6 is destroyed.
no, because 6 could actually come into Lexington Ave and
Into 5?
no, not into 5. So where we talked about before, where I represent like East Main here, so you've got this little juggernaut right here, then you've got this right here, and then you have this area right here.
It's frustrating.
But again, I'm saying that it would make more sense for one to kind of grab some of this, and even if at that point, if Paula's district kind of went on this side of 52 as well,
Well, then that gets back into the same boat that you're talking about, one taking up, being from Forkland all the way to Faulkner Station.
It's not.
Now you have, you know, Parksville Church, that's all going all the way up into, you know, Riverside Drive and all that stuff up in there. Which technically you can't even go that route.
No, I meant, well, anyway,
Yes.
options.
And Judge, we're not under the gun to take action today, but what's our drop dead date to take action?
What do you need from us today? Do you need us to
I
approve
just-
this agreement?
I wanted to bring this forward to see if you all would approve it going forward. Because once we approve it, then we have to go into changing precincts, changing everything like that on my side.
Would it?
Again, it
Okay,
doesn't
approving
take-
the map or approving this agreement? Which one are you saying? Is this part of this agreement?
No, the agreement, that's for,
Bluegrass Acres.
we've already done that.
Okay, well, it was with my map.
I'm sorry.
It was all together.
We'd be approving the work of the committee.
Good, we don't have to do that today.
That's what we've been doing.
The map and the work that you've done is what.
And this is why I wanted to bring it to you with time, so
Yeah.
either you could approve it and you like it,
Okay.
or we can go back and do it one more time to see if we can
Well,
change anything.
where I was yesterday and where I am today, seeing the map and the frustration and the grabbing half of 6 and destroying that district and pushing it out, with all that in
It's gonna be
mind
that way.
and my frustrations, I make a motion that we approve the action of the Citizen Committee and our county clerk.
You can't
As
give
presented.
you can't give it 2 more weeks, Tom?
As
Seriously?
presented.
I mean.
You can't give it 2 weeks.
I see the logic now that I have it laid down before
Oh
me.
my
I make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the map as presented. Appropriate, well, losing my words now. Reapportionment, thank you.
Destroying 6 wasn't any part of it. That was,
I don't know where you grabbed the population. Well, we haven't voted.
I have a motion, I need a second.
have you not seen this part here that I've been talking about the whole time?
Totally, yes.
That would make more sense than you being up here.
Very, very low population there. Extremely
Are you
low.
telling me there's a huge population up there?
It's
That's all the more reason why you shouldn't have that district, because you're not.
Okay, I need a second before we have any more discussion.
Jeez.
Is there a second?
Do we have a second? Okay, motion dies from lack of a second.
Thank you, Judge.
So we need more options.
Okay, you want more options, okay.
Is it appropriate for any of us to sit in with Bluegrass Hat, or no? We can't?
Probably not.
Okay,
I
all
would
right.
say no.
Yeah, I say no.
I just
All right.
think if you come back.
I would make myself available with, and answer any
And
questions,
that's,
but
you know,
if that's not appropriate, I won't do
Well, you're
it,
gonna
so.
have my house.
Okay,
right
can
in
you redo and come back in 2 weeks? Is
And
that
bring-
enough time?
Can you bring this and the other option so we can compare?
Yeah.
I was looking at the statute and it talks about consideration into the division of election precincts should be based on anticipated growth factor within the specified boundaries. However, the county board of elections shall not be prohibited from dividing election precincts in excess of 700 votes cast in the last regular election or less than 700 votes cast in the last regular election if they elect to do so. So you can take more than just population growth. You can look at like the most recent voting and so forth.
But the bottom line is there has to be
It's still by
equity.
population,
It has to
Equity and
be by
balance.
population. There's no,
because it's
It's a
based on
5%
census.
differential either
So
way, it
that's
doesn't mean it has to
population.
be exact on.
Correct,
It'll never
yeah.
And
be
you
that
still
way.
have to keep each magistrate in their district, because I'm right
Actually,
there.
that's
in the-
Yeah.
exactly right.
I'm right there.
And within the 5%.
Yes.
Actually, as frustrating as that.
I already had
comment-
you circled right there.
And if you
Oh,
bring,
So, I understand where you are.
if you bring into 3 into Barry's district, you're right there where Barry lives too, so.
Okay, so for the record, we're not taking any action today, but we would like you to revisit and come back in 2 weeks with new maps.
Thank
Do
you.
it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Gotcha.
2 options.
Thanks, Jason. I warned you.
Okay, Mr. Nichols. Come and give us some good news.
Good morning. I have a couple things I want to talk about. I'll save 1 and 3 for the last part of it. The first part of it is know before, and everybody goes, well, what's that? Well, Tom Ellis knows what it is, so. No. This is a program that we have signed up for to help educate our email users on what is personal information and how it is to be distributed or not distributed. Unfortunately, they emailed all of us users a little bit earlier than I had anticipated. And as Tom found out, if you're late doing your little test, they're not very kind in how they want you to do it. It's kind of like...
Even though it was 22 days in and I had learned the day before.
I know, right?
and did not know anything beforehand.
But know before, going forward, what that's going to help us learn how to do. One of the biggest issues with, you read about different governments that fall to ransomware. The biggest issue with that is because you go through this whole article and all the way down to the very last paragraph where it says, well, the whole reason it happened was because this person opened this email and clicked on this item. That's 90% of the cause of ransomware. This program will help us educate our people that use email all the time, and it will give me an opportunity to check them so that I can send out a phishing email and see how they respond to it. And actually, I was pleasantly surprised with this unknown first send, because I would probably say of all the people that got it, at least 50% of them called me and said, hey, is this legit? So we've done a good job so far, I think, on that. But I just wanted to explain what this know before was. So when you do get that, take the 5 minutes that they ask you to do to go through, and they're going to ask you some questions about personal information and should you or should you not distribute it, and how you should distribute it if you're going to. So that's what that was all about. The next two things I wanted to update you on are basically our courthouse network. It is finishing up. We have already implemented the Boyle County Courthouse Guest Network. It does not require a password. It is open to anybody that is in the perimeter of the courthouse and can use it to get online. And there's a simple splash screen they have to go and agree to, which is the normal, I'm not going to go out and look at ill will sites and things like that. So, and that's good to go.
And that can be monitored if they were to?
That is monitored.
Okay.
That is monitored. It's listed as an unsecure network, which it is because it doesn't have a password on it. But we monitor it to make sure that nothing bad is going to happen through that. The other part of the network, things are starting to wrap up. Most of the folks that are working on it now are trying to finish up some of the Government Services Center, because we rewired that place as well. But on June the 28th of this month, we are going to activate the fiber system into the courthouse.
Yay!
So this will help us be more productive. This will also give us clearer and better imaging for our magistrates that have to visit us from afar. But I just wanted to give you an update that things are rolling along really well. We're getting close, and I think by this time next month we ought to be well on the way. But is there any questions?
No, thank you for all you do.
I appreciate all your all's time. Thank you.
One comment.
Yes, sir.
I certainly need a lengthy tutorial, and with some things that are happening on mine, others might have those same glitches. I have 3 things that came in on my delete file, and I didn't touch them. I just opened it up because I was looking for them because they weren't anywhere. I went to junk, nothing there. I went to delete, and things that came in this morning ended up in my delete file.
Well, that's a great trick.
Well, we'll just have to look at some of the rules that are in there just to make sure that it's not something that Microsoft thought was spam or something.
Yeah.
But we'll definitely take care of it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Nichols.
That's really weird.
Okay, Director Rogers. There you are.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you for just a few things, hopefully pretty easy. First one is our BCTC program agreement. They're going to be holding a paramedic course coming up sometime. They're going to start, I think, in the fall. They're going to do an EMT and then an AMT after that, and then a paramedic course.
And that's all new, correct?
Yeah.
That is tremendous.
Yes.
This will be the second EMT course they did. They just did one, but yes, it's good for our community. It's good for the school too. So.
Good for keeping our bright people here.
Right. Yeah. And so we'll be their primary field internship So they'll send all their students over to us, so.
It's fantastic.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Ellis. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Thank you. The next thing is the striker agreement. We do this annually. It's for our PM, for our striker, the power load system that's in the ambulance, our stair chairs, all that to make sure it's ready to go, limits liability, and also if it breaks, they come in and they fix it for free.
PM is?
Preventive maintenance.
Thank you. Make a motion to approve.
And then is this a renewal?
Yeah.
Okay. Second. All right. Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion on the ProCare Services contract or agreement? All those in favor? Oh, go ahead.
How much more was this than last year's?
Off of my memory, which is not good, about 6,000 more, but it's because of the new power load systems that we've been buying. So the way I do it is if we buy a new piece of equipment, I don't add it to the contract then because it just, for a year it's under warranty.
Yeah.
So I'll add it, so the second year we'll add it, and that's kind of.
So this is kind of nice to see where they were trying to push us onto that other system.
Yeah, the ALS 360.
Yep, cool.
And also note that we got a 15% discount, so. All right, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries.
Thanks to Julie and the judge, they put out a press release for the third year in a row. Boyle County EMS is pediatric ready. So that means what happens is an annual process. You apply, there's certain criteria you have to meet, and if you meet it, they award you. There's only about 20-ish in the state that got accreditation. We were one of them. This is our third year, so super excited about that. Thanks for getting that word out. But basically, all it is that, pediatric population's our smallest run volume, thank goodness. So we have to be extra vigilant about training, have equipment ready, and simulation training to be prepared for when it does happen.
So it's important to kind of recognize, and we talked about this in our committee meeting this morning, but part of that press release is children account for less than 5% of the patients seen by EMS in Kentucky, and which is a great number. And it says that while we're happy that number is low, it also means that we have less direct experience in meeting with their unique needs. So for you guys to get this accreditation, it means that you guys don't just, oh, we got to, figure this out when we get a call. You guys got to constantly, through your training and education, be on your toes.
Training is a big part of it. PR events, you have to do so many PR events to go interact with the kids, because not only is our job as paramedics and EMTs is treatment and transport of sick and injured, but injury prevention too. So that's really, a lot of times we're proactive just because of the way it works, but anyway, but that's part of it.
It also can be very scary for kids is their first interaction with you is in an ambulance and things going on, being surrounded.
Absolutely.
And I thank our providers for doing all the groundwork for this, specifically Michael Manley, he did the application. Next exciting thing we have is we have a new employee. Jordan, if you want to stand up and introduce yourself and say hi to everybody.
Hi, I'm Jordan Sigbin. Nice to meet you.
Welcome.
She's an
Where are you from?
Charlotte, North Carolina originally. I live in Lexington now.
Okay. All right.
We're
With
currently
plans to move down here?
Probably not. I like
in District 4.
She's used to Charlotte.
Yeah, we'll have to have another committee meeting here, Mike.
We have two more that we're onboarding, and I'll bring for you to meet them the next time. One's on night shift, and one worked yesterday, so I'll bring them for you to meet them.
Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. Another exciting thing is Ryan and Angela, if y'all want to come up. Ryan Yarborough he is just finished his paramedic training, and he was one of the students that we sponsored as a county.
Awesome.
It's very good for us to invest in our employees. I'm very proud of Ryan. The paramedic courses that we ran when we had them were 18 to 24 months. The course that he went through is an accelerated course. So it's basically a year of classroom time, and then you got to get all your field internship done, and so super proud of Ryan, and he wanted to ask his wife to be here too because it takes a toll on the family.
Yes.
That whole process of working, because you have to go to night shift, and then the next day you have to go to class, and so it's definitely an arduous process, and I'm super proud of Ryan. I'm excited for him. Once he gets his feet on the ground as a paramedic, I want him to be, my goal for him is to be an instructor and keep going up. So
Awesome. Now you can have congratulations.
Yeah, thank you for allowing him to do that. We really need.
I appreciate y'all for allowing Director Rogers to do that. That really helped out a lot, so thank you all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't put a judge in the middle.
Yeah.
You're pretty tall. I don't know.
Say by me. Oh, okay. I was going to share him with you.
Okay, let's go in slightly. There we go. Good. All right. Ready? Got it. Thank you.
So now you can.
Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're welcome.
Thanks, sir.
Is that all you have, Director Rogers?
that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Oh, there's no need to stick around.
Thank you.
We have to all stay.
Thank you very much.
Is that why we're getting rid of the Charger? Because he won't fit in it?
I was thinking of like a 3500 dually.
I'll be safe. Thank you, guys.
Bye, thank you.
Okay, Director Muncy, I'm moving you up.
I don't know if that's good or bad.
All the above.
It's all good.
All right, we had to do this pretty quick because they're wanting Trilly's signature by this week to get these grants. So I'm 3 for 4 right now. I'm hoping for the 4th one. So the first one is the HHW. Of course, that's our annual hazardous household waste, which is Saturday, August 26th, I believe, Tom. So that'll be from 8:30 to 1 o'clock event.
Saturday, August 26th?
Yes.
Okay.
That's when that event will be. Of course, you'll start seeing flyers and posts and all that good stuff.
That one's on the bypass.
That's on the bypass at my office, so.
And that,
Recycling center.
okay, you're going to tell us the grant amounts and all that.
I can, if you'd like. Okay, so the grant amount for the hazardous household waste is $21,900. And that's basically, like I said, it's a one-day event. What we don't get or use, it gets sent back. Do you want to do these individually, Trilly, or
Yeah,
you
let's
want me to
do
do them all?
that. Let's have a motion to approve
I'll make a motion.
hazardous household waste grant.
I'll make a motion, we do HHW.
Okay, we have a motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bodner. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye. Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay.
All right, the second one is our recycling grant,
Okay.
which is the smallest recycling grant I think I've ever wrote in my history,
Oh,
but
gosh.
I've ran out of room, so I'm limited. So however, this grant is amount for $95,565.82. You can see what's funded there on your list. The Routeware is basically, that is the app that we started and created. This will pay for the whole year. Plus, it's going to add a calendar to the app where I can include the city of Danville and Perryville and
Awesome.
just any information that might be needed
And
out
Junction.
there.
Yeah.
Junction as well?
Well, Junction's Boyle County. I'm talking
Yeah.
about the incorporated cities part.
Okay.
They have the trash service door-to-door pickup, Perryville and Danville.
Okay.
So it's their calendar
Got it,
also.
okay.
We're just automatically.
Got it.
So no, everybody, I am Boyle County.
I understand that, I understand that.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve the recycling grant?
Make a motion.
Okay, motion by Magistrate Sleeper, second by Magistrate Cullen. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries.
And the last one is the composting grant, and I've asked for a Vermeer brush chipper, and surprisingly, we did get it this time.
Yay!
So, yay! So it's a nice big piece of machinery that.
Jamie's clapping.
Yay, Jamie! Yay!
His district will never use it.
Their district's why we have such a big load.
I
So hopefully, it'll help all the way around, just with the brush. If we have any, disasters out there with the road department, be able to be pulled to a location instead of just
That's
sitting
awesome.
right there. So hopefully it'll help our $80,000 bills, I hope.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's that.
Okay, and
Need a motion?
need a motion for that one? Okay.
Second.
All right.
Steve got it.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor of the composting grant signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you, Miss Angie. Fantastic. And you need, you need all three of those.
I need
back.
to jump, I need to see.
I already done it while you took it. Thank you. Okay, Miss Julie,
Okay,
you want to talk about TAP grant?
I'm stuck on reapportionment, sorry. I'm reading an article. TAP grant, in your packet were some documents that we need permission to execute so that we can get the grant agreement, which will come next. One of those is the assignment of an engineer. We could go through the RFP process and try to get bids for an engineer, or we could have the state assign us an engineer, which is what I'm recommending because our project in Perryville is quite small. It would be easier, they have a pool of engineers that and designers that they will assign. So I need your permission to do that and your permission for Trilly to sign any and all documents, so
We'll make that part of the motion.
What's
Yes.
what's the county cost on this?
Oh,
This TAP grant?
Jason, it's 42,000-ish. It's like 42.6 maybe is what we're putting in, and it's 170,000 is what we're getting in the grant.
Cash or in kind?
Right now it's cash, but we may need to do some in kind. So I got to work on the budget.
So it's 171,000
Is the
total grant?
Yes, and I'm going to say 42.6.
And then
is the-
45,000 us
Yeah.
most likely.
So
And it
moved.
possibly could be in kind?
Yes, probably some of the construction, they want us to move some money into design and the budget needs a
And
little
what
work.
was the grant that we got for Junction?
We haven't gotten it yet. That
Well,
is,
what's-
we applied for a park grant and it's a $200,000 grant.
Through Land and Water.
Yes, through us, yes. And it's 50,000 from the county. 50,000 we need to raise and 100 from the grant if we're awarded.
And will theirs be any in kind on, is that cash as well?
There is some in-kind on the other 50,000 we've already talked to the school system about doing some landscaping and
Okay.
things. Yeah, so, and probably some demolition.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve? All right, Magistrate Ellis, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Magistrate Sleeper. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? And that motion did include for me to sign any and all pertinent.
Julie, thank you for the.
Yes, thank you very much. Okay, at this time, we need to go into executive session pursuant to KRS 61-810, discussion or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual, employee, member, or student without restricting that employee, member's, or student's right to a public hearing if
Thanks for
requested.
coming, folks.
This exception shall not be interpreted to permit discussion of general personnel matters in secret. Thank you all.
Make that
Thank you,
motion.
Rick, for being here.
Second.
Motion by Magistrate Cullen, second by Magistrate Bogner. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Thank you. Magistrate reports, yeah.
That's right.
After magistrate reports, we do that.
All right, we're live.
Team's on the way.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to return to regular session.
To you, Steve.
I make motion.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Magistrate Sleeper, second by Magistrate Cullen, to return to regular session. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. With no action taken.
No action taken.
Okay, we start with magistrate reports. Okay. And let's see, who did I start with last time? Did I start with you last time?
I don't think so.
I think it was
go.
Did I start with you, Tom?
I think so.
All right.
You can start with me if you want to.
Can you tell me who it was?
You can start right in the middle.
We'll start with Magistrate Bodner, it's fine.
All right. Just have gone to the Junction City Council meetings, and it's been very informative, and they've all made me feel very welcome, and I've enjoyed learning a lot about their city of things going on. Of course, everything else is still where we were the last time. I haven't had any complaints other than trees growing out all over the roads. Had a few complaints about that, and I know Roger says they're taking care of that as fast as they can. So other than that, I still have to get an email to Angie. I did not do that last time about the stormwater info. I am going to do that. But other than that, that's all.
Have you found out anything about that?
No, I didn't
Okay.
email her. We've got a lot of life
Okay.
going on, so I'm going to do that this time for sure.
Sure. That's it. Thank you. Magistrate Harmon?
No calls,
No comment. Okay.
no problems.
Yes?
No problems.
Everything's good in your district.
That's good.
And he's here.
And yes.
That's right.
Well, we're sure thankful that you are making the recovery that you're making, and we are happy to have you among us.
And I'll be having surgery,
Okay.
eye surgery,
Yep.
the end of July, end of August.
You getting some blue eyes or what?
Getting rid of my Cadillacs.
Cadillacs. I'm trying to for a new model.
You will be happy. I've had mine.
Yes.
End
Had
of
my
July and
eyes
end of
dilated
August.
yesterday and could see this is clear and not a cloud or a fog.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll be praying for you in that endeavor. No. Measure Cullen?
All right, so this morning, the EMS committee met at 8 a.m. May's runs were 593, so they're still quite high. Their highest has been about 612. That was just a month or two ago. So they're still seeing a lot of people. They've changed some things. They're going to start doing new employee orientation on the second Wednesday of the month, usually after fiscal work. They're also going to go on to start utilizing the Chrono system for their scheduling, get away from paper, which will be a big help for them. They've got a couple trucks to surplus, or vehicles. There's 2 ambulances and 1 police cruiser. We're hoping that we can actually get a decent amount for those ambulances because they're still in working order with a few little snafus here or there.
What's a rough decent amount?
We don't know. No.
I don't really have a
$3.
clue. I don't think we've ever, I'm not aware of us, what we got for the ones in the past, so I'm not sure.
We strip the equipment, don't we?
Yep, it's just basically the truck with the box on it.
With the box.
Yep. But all
Some
the-
worn-in seats.
Yep.
Paramedic student update. Ryan Yarlow, who was here earlier, we talked about him passing the exam, is now a licensed paramedic. And then we also talked about the pediatric accreditation, which is awesome. So, a lot for a good little county in central Kentucky. It's going on thanks to our wonderful EMS staff and their director. And then one other thing that I think we need to start talking about, is I'm actually hoping we're going to get to it sooner, is solar. Our moratorium is kind of starting to come up here, and so we need to start working with Michaela and getting up a good recommendation from her and get some education opportunities available for any magistrates that might need it on the impact that this can cause and various other things.
Julie and I have the Scott County piece, and I've been over it, and it's strong, but we can make it stronger.
Yeah.
Does the moratorium run out at the end of the month?
I thought it was the end of the year.
July 1 fiscal year.
Yeah.
I thought we made it calendar year.
So I asked Chris if we could renew that for,
I make a motion we renew to the end of the year.
Well,
I thought we already had done that.
I did too.
I'm almost positive. We can ask Jamie, because I think we were talking June.
In Mercer County, we did it till the end of the year.
I thought we did it till June, and then Jamie said we might as well do it to the
Okay, well,
fiscal year.
We need to find out for sure about that.
So let's
Well,
find
for
out,
sure.
and then we can renew if needed.
Okay. Now, did you have EMS report? Was that part of your comments?
Yep.
Okay, so you want us to approve your EMS report?
That would be nice.
Okay. And the motion?
Sorry.
Motion. Okay, motion by Magistrate Bodner, second by Magistrate Sleeper. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay.
I was
EMS
just
report.
testing you to see how you
I'm
come
trying to
along.
stay on top of it.
All right, good. And then looks like there might be a new power collecting station happening over off of 2168.
Something's going on over there.
Yeah, so I noticed the utility poles that are going over
I
there.
think it's going to the cell tower. I believe it has something to do with the cell tower.
So if
Your
you-
district?
Yes. So if you look right before the train tracks,
Soon to be yours. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
there's a big open area there that they've flagged off some other stuff that those poles stop at. So I didn't get a chance to fully read the signs as you were going by, but
I'll find that.
Is it
Robert told me that it's a cell tower, so I will find out for sure.
okay.
Okay.
All right. And then questions I'm getting right now from my district are grass cutting, which I know Roger and his guys are hard at work on. And then we're also still getting questions on internet.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
Broadband, we need to kind of get some sort of updates on where they are and how close we are still to that time frame.
Do you get questions in your district about like utility flags or marking spots?
Yes.
Just showing
When they're
up
there,
without
yes.
telling the owners of
I
the
got
property
one-
what they're doing?
I got one from your neighborhood that I was actually hoping to talk about today after the meeting about those things.
'Cause I got all kinds of flags in mine, and I don't even know like how long I have to keep them there or remove them. Because I already removed them once, and then I go on vacation and come back and it's
Yeah, they're going from Lexington Avenue all the way down Goggin right now
Is that
into
Spectrum?
Chris's. Actually, I think it's AT&T.
Oh.
just wish they would have some type of better communication. Because like I see a picture from my Ring doorbell, whatever, and there's some big old piece of equipment just parked in my, my lawn, and somebody says, well, it's a thing that runs lines underneath like driveways and stuff. Just wish that we had communication.
What about cameras and railroad tracks? Are you getting comments about that?
I've had one.
Okay.
How about you?
Yes.
One?
Yes.
Okay. And I asked the person that's been asking that, and I said it's hard to I mean, I know Bill has priced it and has been trying to get some different things, but the problems that we run into is where the cameras need to go is not our property. So then we need to work with Norfolk Southern. And then two is we've only had one individual that's asked for it, and I actually kind of went back to him and said, do you have others that are asking for this? Because if so, we need
to hear
them
from them.
to hear, because I can't just act off of one person. And I haven't heard from anyone else besides him.
I haven't either.
So, but roughly it's about $5,000 up front to get these cameras added, 5 to 6, I can confirm with Bill. And then, then your cell service each month to run that camera. And I've asked a couple people out there, that just when I know constituents out there, I say, hey, would you find this useful? And they're like, I don't know. So they're more interested in wanting to know when the bridge is going to be done.
Yeah.
I guess that's the other question that I would like to see is get an update on the bridge from our engineers.
Okay.
And where we are on that. But
Okay. All right. Is that all in your report?
I think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Sleeper?
Things are relatively quiet in my district, which is good.
You and Barry.
I did participate in Michael Smith Park cleanup with a group of folks, and it's a really nice park. I think it's one of Danville's best kept secrets, really, so I like to encourage folks to get out there and use it, utilize it, and enjoy it. We did some cleanup of invasive species of plants to help the native species thrive more, and it's all part of some grant that they're applying for, that we're putting efforts into fixing it up. So also attended Bob Allen Motor Mall ribbon cutting ceremony, and which is also is in my district, and just thankful for businesses like his in our county and our community. Participated in the garden tour last Saturday. I actually won 2 free tickets.
Yay!
So it was really enjoyable. 3 of the 8 gardens are in my district as well, so I really enjoyed seeing the diversity of landscaping and gardening and such.
That was a great tour.
It's it's a really beautiful, beautiful part of our community. Did a ride along with Magistrate Bodner and Julie regarding with planning and zoning commissioner to look at some of the challenges in our county of planning and zoning. So it was very enlightening and eye-opening for us. We also toured the solar in Garrett County. We went over there and looked at that. And actually the gate was open, so we were able to drive right up inside and look at
I felt a little, felt like we were breaking the law a little bit.
Interesting on that, that only provides 50 megawatts of power a day for that whole big stretch of it.
Yeah, nothing.
And compared to like 2 miles of coal will get you, 2,000 to 3,000 megawatts a day.
Would anybody else like to ride along with, it's Tom Ruby that did, and he said he has talked to you about some of the complications.
Separate from that, Jason and I went out with Earl a year ago. I mean, is it worth taking another tour, or?
I took these 2 because they're new and
didn't you say the
I've
panels
been on
weren't in place or something?
Truly's gone.
The what?
The panels were not all in place or something?
That was not the tour we took. That's why I'm kind of interested.
Oh, yeah, you probably.
This was a tour of Paula's district, a little bit of yours, but not a lot, just one area. The solar, we talked about road widths. He did the same thing with Howard 2 years ago and sort of showed us the complications of
Well, yeah, that's totally separate, and I would be interested.
Okay, I will try to set that up.
Are you
Anybody else want to
Yeah,
go?
I'm
Barry,
fine.
do you want to? It's about 3 hours.
Barry wants to wait till he gets his good new
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
so he can see it.
Okay.
I don't know about Jamie. I don't know if Jamie's still with us.
Jamie's not still with us
Okay.
yet. Phil and, Phil. Jamie, same person.
He'll be glad you're thinking about it today.
Yeah. I actually been thinking about Phil all day today. I got to reach out to him. But Jamie and Tom can go, and then Barry and I'll go.
By the way, Chris, point of order here. It was my understanding that when you're remote, you are not part of the voting body, and we could be in the 3-3 tie or.
Right, and I actually looked into that, and I texted Jamie and said, you can't vote.
Oh, okay.
Now, there's a process where that is valid, but you have
only
to.
Under COVID.
No, there's a process. I actually also texted Rich Ornstein while the meeting was going on. So, like, in the notes, we don't need to reflect a vote. Jamie's vote doesn't need to count towards anything.
Okay.
Good.
But basically, it can be done. There's pursuant to.
Yes.
Pursuant to KRS 117.055, but there's notice requirements that so and so is going to be there, and that's just something that we have to give notice of, that Magistrate Cullen or whoever is going to appear remotely for this whole
But
thing.
still
When you say all present magistrates voting in favor.
Right. So, but I think it can be done.
All in person.
It can be done remotely, but they have to be like. I think we had halfway, like, all the right things that needed to be done for him to technically be present remotely, but there's that notice requirement and a couple other things.
I'm confused. Still, he would not be able to vote, correct?
You can if we put it on the notice that goes out to the press.
Okay, so we'd have to notify in advance.
You have to tell us in advance if you're not going to be there.
Like
because we might need that vote sometime.
Right. KRS 117.055 details that, and Rich was very quick to respond to me.
I bet he was.
Because I was looking for it myself, and then he sent that, because he's always on top of it.
Yeah, and that's why, when I remoted in last time, that's why I was actually quiet. 'Cause
Yeah.
It was my understanding that once that Emergency Act went away, we couldn't utilize that anymore, but, so it's good to know that that's an option.
If we
needed.
advertise it.
That could be essential for a vote sometime.
Yeah.
Really good.
I'm not finished.
Or for a quorum.
I'm waiting patiently. Getting a little impatient, but I'm waiting patiently.
Anyways.
Sorry, Steve. All right, go ahead.
All right, I'm taking half of this.
One more item. The Heart of Kentucky Juneteenth celebration will be coming up this Saturday. I have a brochure. I only have one, but if anybody'd like to take a picture of it or anything and participate.
Where will it be?
It will be at West Lane Park in Harrodsburg.
Harrisburg, okay, same
And
place.
the reason, it's like an area-wide one, so Boyle doesn't try to want to compete with that, so that's why we don't have our own specific Juneteenth celebration that I'm aware of. At least that's my understanding, so if we can all go and participate and support this.
Yeah.
So it's this Saturday, which is June 17th at West Lane Park, which is on West Lane Street in Harrodsburg. So
Great.
that's it.
Okay. All right, Magistrate Ellis.
Julie, anything new with jail plan and Brandstetter? Anything
No.
new? Okay. Number 2.
But it's on my list.
And I guess it's you, Jason, and I talking with the judge about Constitution Square contract and
Yes.
what we're going to do.
Yeah,
about
I've
that.
got some things.
Oh, and by the way, they have at least changed the locks on Constitution Square. I learned that.
On some of them.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
not complete, but they are in the process of changing the locks.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm running into a serious situation in my district where I think the language is clear on the issue at hand, but I think we need to add some wording in it to make it abundantly clear, because we can't allow a precedent of something that's going on in my district to permeate the entire county, and I'll get with the judge and Julie on that. I think we need to get a communique out to all of our special taxing districts that we would like to schedule them for a quarterly report. We've talked about that in previous court session, and I think
That's in the works.
So we'll formalize that. Good. Judge, I would encourage you to email the Perryville City Council, Mayor and Council, and urge them to come one more time.
Okay.
Because I could easily be an affirmative vote, knowing all of the parameters, including the public vote after the fact, should they implement annexation. And it just distresses me that at this point they're not planning to come back. So if you would communicate that way.
I'll do that.
And then Julie, you and the judge walked around with the courthouse survey. Could you tell what happened?
Well, we learned a lot.
We did.
He is in the process of surveying our parking lot and White's Park, okay? We don't really have anything formal from him yet, the official. A lot of the boundaries of the parking lot are what we pretty much expected. I learned there was a cemetery right outside my window back in the day, and...
It's not there now.
Do we know that it was formally by statute moved?
Well, no, we can't, he can't find any record of it, but there is a stone in Bellevue with the same name. A huge monument.
So we feel like
they've been
I hope they did.
zoomed and moved, so.
Our state protocols.
Yeah, so we're still waiting on the final boundaries. He's also surveying the front of the courthouse, Whittaker Park, where that sets, and so there's we're waiting on the final boundaries of that. Learned a little bit about, there used to be a tavern right out here and where Bill Irwin's office is now. A lot of history.
And an alleyway.
Yeah, and there's an easement. We've been asked to start thinking about an access easement across our parking lot to these properties over here. So I have that on my list to work on some kind
That's
of
really important.
agreement
I
with
think
Chris.
that's an oversight from the past.
It probably is. And now that we're cleaning all this up, I think there's a building maybe going for sale in this area, and they would like to have that. So
But there's some things we need to think
Really
about,
about
and that's
that.
something we'll need your research on,
Right.
as far as ingress and egress, because
Yes, Your Honor.
We just.
I hate dropping bombshells on you. So yeah, and then with White's Park, we are still waiting on the final boundaries of that as well. So soon, real soon, I think we'll have it.
That's all good.
Okay, all
Thank you.
right, Jamie's gone, so we won't have any more from him. Counselor?
Yes, so I was gone last week, so I missed the breast band. I hope that some of y'all got to go to it, and it was a good success. I think the weather was great, so
Our table won first place.
congratulations to
Yes.
that.
That's good.
Something this week.
They're
which I-
satellite pictures of the pink.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Something happened this week, which I think we should promote, is the Boyle County Fair.
Yes.
So it's going on at I think it's across from Kroger.
Right by the
Smoky
firehouse.
Way.
It's actually behind the fire department, yeah.
Okay, it's there, so we should attend that if possible, and I'm kind of excited because I love demolition derbies, and I think I was looking and it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday night demolition derby, so very excited about that.
It's all set up right now, which is nice. I took Simon by it last night. He's been counting down for 2 weeks since those signs started coming up.
Then I guess the last thing, as we know, it's Father's Day on Sunday, so it's going to be different for me since this will be the first year not having my dad around. So, but you know, just want to say Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I still have a good father-in-law, and so we'll celebrate.
You better
with him.
say that.
We'll celebrate. We'll celebrate with them, but you know, it is going to be different, and
It is hard the first
but
second.
that's life.
Yeah, Chris was nice enough to take me by. We went to dinner up in Lexington one time. He took me by to see where his dad is, and he's right at the corner of the Camp Nelson Cemetery there by the drive. So
You basically pull in, do a U-E, and he's right there next to the
Yeah.
historical marker
So
sign.
when you're driving up to Lexington and back, just, you know, say hello and thank you for your service to Chris's dad. So.
And that's all I have.
Okay, Julie?
I have a couple things. The first is I've been asked to report on the flowers at Governor's Circle.
Yes.
We got the flowers in from the FFA and they were about this big, and I'm not exaggerating. So there was a little bit of distress in the community because there was a huge group coming in last night and today down there, okay? 100 and some.
20-something people?
Yeah. So, the city, actually, Ms. Hamner called Eddie Devine, and he had a plethora of flowers left over from the city's plantings. She came and asked, and we agreed to let them put those flowers in Governor's Circle. Jana has paid for them personally. She said she'd see how that shakes out, but Trilly's already talked to the FFA about starting them sooner next year because it looked
Bare. It just looked bare. Yeah, they just
and they
weren't
will grow.
right
They
size.
were beautiful last year. We know that. We just happen to have this big group coming in, and so thank goodness for Ms. Hamner and the city for giving us
Yes, we
their
appreciate
leftovers.
their efforts very much.
Okay, so the second thing I have is the comp plan.
Whoa.
That's embarrassing.
Okay, the comp plan, this is a pretty important thing that you're gonna be tasked with, sort of like reapportionment. We had our first kind of gathering with the local officials. It was Trilly, myself, Earl, Josh, Mayor of Perryville Councilman, a couple other people. Planning and zoning directors. And we came up with a schedule that I'm going to hand out to you today. So I need 2 dates put on your calendar. First is July 11th, from 9 till probably a couple hours, maybe noon.
Yeah, I'd say noon.
Let's just block off 9 to noon and hope that's enough. You have some homework, which I'm going to hand out to you. You have 2 questions that you need to thoughtfully prepare some responses to.
Oh, you said July 11th?
That's
July
a fiscal
11th.
court.
That's a fiscal court date.
Okay, wait a minute. Oh, that's wrong. It's the next one then.
18th. It's the 18th.
No, we are doing it July 11th. I gave you the wrong time. It's after fiscal court. It's after fiscal court. I will cross these out on here. That's right. We're going to stay after fiscal court. I forgot.
So noon to 3.
Probably.
Where are we ordering from?
Well, to be determined.
I don't know.
Milton's again is always good. Milton's or Or Danielle's was great too.
Yeah. Okay,
Don't
so,
we have another day to do that?
yes, so your homework is, who are we, and what do you want to be? Okay, and you need to give some thought to that, and I've got some other subsequent questions about that. The second meeting is July 18th, from 8 to 4 at Intercounty Energy. And this is all the elected officials in Boyle County and their attorneys. I hope you can join us. July 18th, 8 to 4. And this is where, as a community of elected officials, you will decide the goals and objectives of the comp plan. So we need to know what we want, what we envision for Boyle County before we get there on the 18th.
Now, on the 11th, or either one really, is there a way to do it remotely if you aren't?
I think so. I think if we do the proper
Request.
announcing, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, we can be voting on anything, or is it just basically, we're listening?
I don't think you need to vote, but you need to tell us, what direction do you want to see Boyle County?
We need
What do
your
you
input.
envision here?
Julie, you probably already thought of this, but I would invite our senator and our state representative to be there as well,
Okay.
just as a
I'll
courtesy.
mention that to Michaela. Okay, so in addition to the July, there will be a September, October meeting, and there will be a December meeting of the elected officials, and I don't have those dates yet. The public kickoff of the comp plan is August 24th, 6 to 8 p.m. at the showroom, and I'm going to pass all this out. There will be a series of small community gatherings to collect input. There'll be some in Junction, Perryville, City of Danville County. Everybody has an opportunity to tell us what they want in the comp plan. There'll also, between August and December, be paper surveys, online surveys. So therein is why we're going to meet in September and December, so that you can start going through all this information that's coming in from the public and deciding and setting the priorities for the comp plan. Okay? So I apologize for the incorrect date on the 11th, but if we want to pass these around, everybody will have
The
it.
date's correct, the
The
time.
date's correct, time is right.
Continuing on.
I just want birthday cake.
Okay, so July the 11th, all the cities that are interested should be there. That should be the
The
next.
18th.
Oh,
The 18th, the 11th is just us.
Us, okay. All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Couple other things we're working on is roof quotes for the Government Service Center, the Constitution Square roofs, and this courthouse, we gotta get that finished. And we're still working on the leases for Constitution Square. Administrative code, it's time to review and approve the administrative code. I've got a draft ready. Would you all prefer to have it emailed, or would you prefer for me to print you paper copies and pop them in the mail?
Isn't it 40 pages long?
It's 60.
Oh,
Yeah, email.
Email to email, that would be
numbered
great.
pages, please.
They are,
Okay,
always.
good.
Let's see, comp plan, we've bid the bathrooms out twice, we've gotten no bids.
Oh.
So we had a gentleman come last week, and so we'd like to rebid that again, unless you have news. Any news?
Mark has got a group looking at them this morning.
Great,
Yeah.
so I
Roger.
think we need to
Yeah,
rebid
that's
it.
what-
He had his hand
Yeah,
up.
so we're gonna rebid it and hope that these contractors now respond. Constitution Square punch list from the committee, we're gonna start working through that. I have to do a property survey for each building in the TAP grant district in Perryville with GIS coordinates and all kinds of stuff, and get that for section 106 review.
Is that
That's it.
something we work with the surveyor with? Okay.
No, I've already met with Ally, and she gave me what I needed to prepare.
Good.
I just got to put it together. I think that's it.
That-
I think-
Okay, all right. Well, everybody has covered everything that I had made notes on. Did you mention the gutters, that we did get approved for the gutters?
No, we did get approved, I should have said that, from the Heritage Council for all the work that we proposed at Constitution Square. So that's wonderful.
Okay, and as Chris said, don't forget to visit the Boyle County Fair this week, going on through Saturday night. I went out there and looked at it Sunday, drove through and looked at the track and everything. Our guys have done a wonderful job out there helping the fair board get prepared for all of the events going on, the truck pull, demolition derby, everything. So they put in their time, effort, and machinery in order to do that. So thank you, Roger, and your group for helping the Boyle County Fair go on this year. We appreciate it. New location. out behind the fire department, as Jason said, off Smoky Way, that's the entrance. So if you're going out there, be sure and use that entrance. I don't have anything else unless someone else has any additional information.
Well, we adjourn
move, we
in
adjourn.
honor of Flag Day.
In honor of Flag Day. I love that, Tom.
The one thing I will say is that brass band was, I think, a huge success this year. I think it really had a great turnout. I'm glad to see it's coming back to what it was before. And so I think Paris did a good job.
She sure did.
And then all
She
the
sure
staff and volunteers did a fantastic job.
Committee and everybody.
Yeah.
All right, I have a motion to adjourn in honor of Flag Day by Magistrate Ellis.
Second.
Second by Magistrate Bodner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay. Motion carries. We are adjourned. You all have a great rest of the week.
See you
See you soon.